Hello everyone, my name is Rawan Abdullah. I'm going to present automatic detection and classification of Islamic web text content written by me and Dr. Moulay Ibrahim Ghembaza. This is the presentation outline. First, we will give a brief introduction about the subject. Then we will move to some of the related work. After that is our proposed method, and followed by the implementation of this proposed method and the experimental result achieved by our proposed method, and lastly is the conclusion and future work that can be done in this field. We will give an introduction of the subject. In the recent time, there has been many websites that attack Islam and contain information that promote hate toward Islam and Muslims, and therefore it is our duty to try and stop or limit their spread. Uh, Unfortunately, even with this spreading of anti-Islamic web text content and the hate toward the Muslim community and the attack against the Prophet Muhammad peace be upon him, this problem hasn't been addressed or solved yet. Therefore, we need real-time detection of anti-Islamic online content using machine learning-based sentiment analysis technique. In this research, we give an overview of the existing detection that have similar purpose to our detection method, such as detecting fake news, racism, hate speech, and toxicity detection. In order for us to collect our appropriate data set that can help us in the process of achieving this objective, we need to first identify what is anti-Islam. Anti-Islam and anti-Muslim can be expressed as the hate toward the Islamic religion and Muslim, especially as political force that promote terrorism. The aim of this research is to detect and classify the web pages based on their content using sentiment analysis technique and text classification technique. Our objective are first to study sentiment analysis and use them to detect and classify the web pages based on their content as anti-Islamic web pages or not anti-Islamic web pages. Second is to identify the feature that can be used in this research. Third is to develop a system that can classify the web pages based on their content. And lastly, to create general benchmark that contain data set for anti-Islamic web pages to help the researcher in the future. Next, we will give some. We will talk about related work. We mentioned two of the related work we have studied. The first is in the field of fake news detection. They used public data set and they focused on machine learning technique where they used K-mean and SVM. The second paper, they work on the field of hate speech, where they used publicly available data set, and they worked on the deep learning technique. We study different papers. We can summarize most of the technique used in the paper we discussed in our paper as lexicon as five approaches. The first approach used was lexicon-based approach. Some used machine learning technique approach. Others used deep learning technique approach. Some used ontology-based approach and a hybrid approach, where they combined two approaches to produce new approach. Most of the method used, most of the popular method used is SVM and K-mean and CNN. Next, I will focus on the proposed methodology. The framework of our proposed methodology consists of 5 stages. The first stage is data collection and annotation. The second is data pre-processing. The third stage is features extraction. The fourth stage is classification process. And the fifth stage is model evaluation. These stages can be shown in the next figure. As you can see, in the first stage, which is data collection, where we collected the data and from different sources into two main data sets, which is balanced data set and unbalanced data set. Next is the data pre-processing stage, where we prepare the data by applying some techniques such as removing subword removing, normalization, stemmatization, and other technique. The third stage is feature selection, where we select the feature that to be used in the next stage, which is the training the machine learning algorithm. In this stage, we provide the machine learning model with the training data to learn from it. And the last stage is the model evaluation stage. In the next few slides, we will discuss more about each stage. For data collection and annotation, we have collected two data sets. The first one is balanced data set consisting of 2082 articles, and the non-balanced data set consisting of 2711 articles. After we collected the data, we moved to the next stage, which is the pre-processing stage. This stage includes removing punctuation, removing white space, stop word removal. We also changed all the words to a lowercase, and we used stemming, barter stemmer, and we used word net limitizer for limitization. After we cleaned the data, we moved to the feature selection, where we used TF-IDF with word level and TF-IDF with trigram level. Next stage is the training and classification. To achieve our goal, we used SVM as a classifier. The reason for choosing SVM is that it is the most suitable algorithm for our dataset, as it is less than 100,000 data, and it also requires less data for the training, and it produces good result. We split the data into 70 for training data and 13 for testing data. In this section, we will talk about the experimental result achieved by our model. We have tested the model based on this 4 criteria, which is precision, recall, F-score, and accuracy. We have used TF-IDF as feature extraction in our model. The first is we used it in word level, where we calculated the TF-IDF for each word in the document, and also used TF-IDF for trigram level, where we calculated the TF-IDF for each free word in the document. This figure shows the result of the word level. As we can see, for the machine learning model, all of the measurements have almost the same results, but for the hybrid model, we can see that there is a large difference between all of the measurements. The next figure shows the trigram level. The trigram level. As we can see, the machine learning model, there is a little bit different between them, but overall it gives a good result. And when we compare the hybrid model with the hybrid model on the balanced and non-balanced dataset, there are some slightly small difference between the results. But in general, it gives good result, and the highest accuracy achieved by the model is achieved by the machine learning model on the non-balanced dataset, where it achieved 97. We have given a detailed description about all of the experimental results applied on our dataset and achieved by our proposed approach, using the feature extraction TF-IDF on word level and on the trigram level. We also show that the best accuracy achieved for our algorithm is achieved by SPM on the trigram level. And now we will give the conclusion and the future work that can be done on this field. We have proposed automatic detection and classification of anti-Islamic websites using sentiment analysis technique, and the model used in this research are based on supervised machine learning approach and a hybrid approach, where we used SPM in both approaches. The experimental results show that for our dataset, the best algorithm that produces high accuracy is SPM on trigram level. Some of the limitations we have faced during the process of achieving our goal were the absence of any data that contain anti-Islamic websites in English or on any other language. Also, we have faced some problem when we collected the data, as some of the web pages were blocked. This problem slowed down the process of collecting the data, and also the process of finding a suitable lexicon that will produce good results was difficult. In the future, we will be adding more data to the dataset so we can use it in the deep learning approach. We also propose to implement a translation-based approach where we can deal with non-English content such as Arabic and French language anti-Islamic text. Moreover, we will introduce some concepts when we're using natural language processing technique to study the effect of semantic analysis approach. Also, we can study the different social media. Uh, we collect the data and compare the content to our data set to see what the result will show. This is the end of this is the reference we used in this presentation. Uh, Thank you for listening. And do you have any question?